Okay, so we have time for a little check-in here. If I see there's some hands up. So, why don't we go to Roya? Roya.
Thank you so much. It was really, thank you. Before I joined this retreat, I thought I am awareness, but tonight when I was asked who you are, suddenly uh, I don't know, I heard about something like this, but a feeling of I am awareness. Then my mind started rejecting it. I found myself in a state of confusion rather than clarity.
Yeah, okay. So, it sounds like, if there's confusion, like when we're having a direct experience of awareness, there's just a directness to it. So there's no question in the mind. So if there's confusion coming up, I think it sounds like what happened is, we can sometimes get glimpses of that awareness, and then the mind will come up with a concept around it, and a word for that experience. But the directness of it may have passed, and then the mind continues on, and it says, I'm awareness. That's what I am. I know what I am. But the mind, becomes this knowing mind again, and that's again the character sort of appropriating it. So that's good that if it doesn't feel true, it doesn't feel authentic, and the mind is getting confused, then you're getting closer to the truth. The mind is starting to let go of that concept, that narrative, whatever it is that it's knowing. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Because I usually do Satnam Kriya, and every time I said Satnam, I was, that feeling of awareness, and then because possibly my mind used kind of get used to knowing I am awareness, and
Hmm.
then now started rejecting because it is hearing something different.
Yeah, yeah. So what we're going for is, there's the knowing on the mind level, but it's deeper than that. It comes with a great sense of ease in the whole being, and of this freeing of freedom from knowing. Actually, it's actually a great burden that is dropped when we realize we don't have to know. That little self actually doesn't have to know. It's not even its job to become enlightened, or to know the truth of who we are. The little self isn't made for that. So when it actually can just relax and stop seeking, it's a great relief. That in itself is very liberating. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Tanya.
Hi, thank you. My question is, so far, like this is the third dyad, and what's overwhelming is a tightness that comes in my chest, like in the heart center, and it's like a box that's just squeezing and squeezing. When I name it, it sort of dissipates a bit, or sometimes it'll shift into the throat area or to the side a little bit, and it's just like painful, but nothing. It's as if it blocks everything else.
Yeah, and are there any is there anything happening in the mind? Any thoughts associated with it, or
No, actually, there's just no thought. There's just, well, actually, before I had a vision of two heads, one above the other, a lighter one on the top, a darker one under. Uh, there's just the sensation is as if there's something, as if there's something inside that's saying, no, don't let go of that. It's dangerous.
Hmm.
Kind of like the feeling of gripping.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, so sometimes, whatever these samskaras are, or, these holdings, it is mysterious. Like sometimes, it can, we find out through exploration what it is. Sometimes there's some experience or some emotion or something. We have a sort of glimpse of what it is, and other times we never know. Sometimes these things go back to even pre-verbal times. So there's no story to it. There's no it's just a holding pattern for some reason. Sometimes people have had glimpses of what they feel like it's like a womb birth experience. It's like before any language came. So we never really know, and it doesn't ultimately really matter. What matters is that we just make it conscious, and we just have a complete experience of whatever's coming up. Really inhabit it, with our consciousness, and just allow it to be. Just when you can feel where the resistance is and make it conscious, then just let it go and just allow it. And because these are parts of us that have been sort of sometimes in psychology they say they're exiled, these samskaras. So we're inviting them back, not resisting them, but just allowing them to be exactly as they are.
So it's okay that it just like takes over most of everything that comes up in the dyads. I mean, because every time it comes to my time to respond, it's the main thing. It just shifts in a different place and it gets really dense. And once in a while, a little something different can flit in so far, but that's really that it just takes up a lot of space.
Yeah, and until, that this is kind of how the unconscious works. It just keeps coming and coming until there's a complete experience of it. So, to the best of our ability, we just sort of allow what is, but we never try and get rid of anything. If that's what's happening, that's what's happening. So, there's no right or wrong. We're not looking to do anything or dissolve anything, transmute anything. That it happens by itself, if it's meant to happen. So our job is simply to report exactly what's coming up. So if that's coming up, that's it. And just notice the subtle things. Like if there is a frustration in the mind, it's like, oh, this again. So just report that as well, anything that's coming up in the mind and body.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Jana. Hi, Jana.
Hey, Dan.
Hey.
Um, I don't have I do want to share, and I obviously would love any reflections from you or whatever comes up. Um, so in this last dyad, um, there was kind of like an experience happening or just something unfolding that started with laughter, and I don't remember what was happening that made me laugh, but like laughter was happening, and then the laughter created like this opening and this sense of like aliveness in the body, and then that was what I was following, and then all of it, like then there was just this really big settling and opening, and this like deep sense of rest, and then I reported like, oh, I can rest, and it was just like this spontaneous thing that was said. I mean, everything was pretty spontaneous. And then the facilitator asked, I forget the specific wording, but like, tell me about the one that can rest. And what was so like funny is my mind contracted and then gave an answer that conceptually would be right. But then, and then I ended and was witnessing, and my mind was like hooked on this question from the facilitator. And then the next time I reported on all of that, and then had this realization that like there was the contraction of the mind that was happening, but then there was an answer of I don't know that wanted to come out, but instead the mind answered. And then I had this like huge laughter at the hilarity of the fact that like the wrong answer that was spontaneous was more real than the right answer from the mind. And then I just laughed at the hilarity of like how everything was like perfectly designed and like show my pattern still of like wanting to get the answer right, and like the mind still like got hooked by this thing, this question. So
Mhm.
yeah, even though like the answer of I don't know, because it's like it doesn't matter if the right answer comes or whatever, like
Yeah, yeah. And I always feel like, sometimes these, these prompts from the facilitators, they do trigger the mind, sometimes. And it's all, my feeling is whatever comes up in these dyads, there's a lot of insights there. So that feeling of freedom and laughter, a lot of people have started to experience stuff like that. There's a spontaneity that starts to come, and a lightness, and then the mind will come back in some way and mess it up, and we get to see it all. We know we're just watching the show, kind of, and seeing how it all works, and really, what you said is perfect. Like it really doesn't, there's no right or wrong answer to all of it. This little mind that always wants to jump in and answer. We more and more catch it. We see its pattern, and then we can just drop it. Once it's fully conscious, it just drops, and then we can just be with that more easeful energy and yeah. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
thanks, Dan. I just like have one question. So I mean, the mind wants to know, like, so does the language tend to align and be more accurate? Because I do find even sometimes when I'm really in a deep state of direct experience, sometimes the words are wrong, or like, conceptually aren't right to accurate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
does that matter or
I don't believe anybody's words.
okay.
I
All
don't
right.
I don't believe the words because
So I don't believe my own words.
no, I don't like I've heard people use all kinds of words, and when it's clear they're having an awakening, and but yet the words will be all messed up, but it doesn't matter. It's what's coming through. It's the energy. It's the aliveness. So the words are not trustable. Somebody can say all the perfect words, but it's just the mind, or they could be fully awake and their words are totally insane, and but it doesn't matter because they're there.
All
So
right. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Liesel. Hi, Liesel.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Um, yeah, y- my question is, you came into our session, and I think I was describing that there was this sense of vaguely this sense of awareness, and then a whole bunch of thoughts running through it, which is a very common experience. and then you asked me to tell you more about the thoughts. And what I found is, and I find this on my own too, that it's like they aren't really I don't know what they are. They're like wisps of thoughts. They're like partially, they're not even like thoughts, and you can't even like grasp them to convey them at all. And that happens somewhat frequently, I would say. And so I guess I could just report that, but am I meant to try to go after them?
No, not necessarily. No, it's whatever, whatever is coming up is coming up. So, yeah, no, you don't have to like pursue them or really try. It's whatever's meant to present itself will present itself. And usually these deeper samskaras, there will be something more substantial coming up. So if it's just like wispy thoughts, phenomena, yeah, we don't have to really worry about that. But sometimes, there's a middle way with it. Like sometimes there's something knocking on the door, and it's just there, waiting to come through as well. So we don't want to ever just say, oh, it's just thoughts. We maybe see what's coming up in the mind, and if you can catch it, great. If not, that's okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Rob.
Hi. Can I describe my experience to you and get your thoughts about it?
Yeah, sure.
So I had the same experience tonight that I had last night, which is the first 10 to 15 minutes, I'm very clearly in small self mode, and it feels uncomfortable, and there's a lot of resistance and all sorts of random thoughts about all kinds of different things. And then over the next few minutes, it's like I don't experience this as a flip because it's not sun, but it's like there's some partial dissolution of the small self, and it shifts into just deep presence and stillness and awareness. And especially when I'm witnessing, there are long stretches of time where there are no thoughts at all. Mm-hmm. What's your reaction to them?
Yeah, so that's what you're describing is a common phenomenon. So I was actually I was going to talk a little bit about this specifically. So I actually have a little prop to describe it, what's happening. So the within the self structure, there's the phenomena, all the thoughts, what you call the small self, is generating all of this phenomena. And then, so within the 5 skandha model that I talked about this morning, those are the first 4 skandhas. And then the 5th skandha is just the witness of all of that phenomena. It's that witnessing part of the mind. So we flip from the phenomena to this witness. So sometimes this is called like a figure ground reversal. So I have this is this classic kind of image that's found in psychology sometimes. So if you look at it one way, it's a vase. You look at it the other way, it's 2 faces. So it's like the foreground and background kind of flip, and this is duality. And when we flip to that witness, there's a sense of sometimes peace and tranquility, emptiness, and some of the the meditation techniques are really designed. They're for tranquility. They're to really bring us to that witness. So it's a good step on the path. It's actually one of the stages that we go through in this process, is to come into this witnessing space. So we're no longer kind of identified with the phenomena, but we're in this witnessing position, and so from there we can just allow this inquiry to continue.
So is there anything I should do to facilitate it continuing?
Just continue to report. If there's a sense of that witness, So one thing I would say is, so you have these two fields. You have this field of changing phenomena, and then the witness of that. So who is aware of both the witness and the witnessed? Who is the one who can you directly experience that one? The one that is aware of both witness and witnessed. Yeah, so when you do the inquiry, see if you can directly experience that one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go to Ina.
Hello.
Hi there.
It's actually pronounced Ina.
Ina, sorry.
Yes, that's okay. So this is my first time doing dyads, and one of the things I've noticed from last night and also today is I'm putting a lot of energy into being a good witness and really trying to know this other person, what they're putting in front of me. And toward the end of the session, there's such a connectedness that I'm feeling, not that the duality has completely dissolved, but there's this just leaning in. It's an us. It's I don't know. And tonight I even walked away still feeling some of the sensations that the other person was revealing during our session.
Mm-hmm.
So is it part of the process to connect in that way? Am I getting caught on connection? Because I'm really looking at it as this person is me,
Mm-hmm.
essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's.
So when I see the tears, or it's like it's inside of me, and the love that I come into my first sharing with, or whatever is coming up, is still there, but it's almost like it's extending. It's extending from me, and so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts?
Yeah. So it's the truth is, like with this technique, it's amazing just by being present, continuously with someone, or with any meditation object. It doesn't matter what we put attention on. Eventually, what's revealed is, you are that, basically. You realize that it's you. So the truth is, that we can have a direct experience of another, what another being is. There is no other ultimately, if we go all the way with that. So you're coming closer to the truth of who you are, just by being with another. You're starting to see the oneness in everything and everyone. So so just keep going. That's perfect. Yeah, there's sometimes the mind, like when that starts to happen, the mind will will worry that there's something is wrong or it needs to mediate in some way. But I trust that process. When we get ourselves out of the way, whatever unfolds is just part of the process.
Mine is definitely there as sort of pulling back because the feelings of intense love that's what is radiating.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were to say to the person on the screen, I love you, there's a love right here.
Mm-hmm.
It almost seems, as my partner said, grandiose in a way. It's
yeah. And we don't. So there is a middle way with it. We can say and fully convey what's coming up. Just embodying love. Like letting it come through. But then we don't ever refer to our partner as a person. Because that takes it in a different.
Here comes the split. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's reporting, what's authentically coming up here, and then, we don't need to connect it to the partner or refer to anything that the partner has said, because then it can start to become this sort of subtle conversation as well. So yeah, but it can be very beautiful when the heart opens and we start to realize the truth. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go to Emmett.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
Hello.
Namaste. Nice to meet you again. I was a participant in last year's retreat as well.
Yes.
As I explained, I was also a Vipassana student and had a tremendous awakening experience in 2015. But little did I knew that it again took another character and gave me so much trouble after that. And then I came to your retreat because I was not knowing what is happening to me. And the earlier character has now taken the spiritual character something. And then I got frustrated and I came to your retreat, last retreat, to understand after watching the movies.
Yeah.
But little bit I knew that something will happen in what happened in last retreat was the energy from the bottom, from the lower part of the body, came and stayed here in the middle of the eyebrows. Because I had this tremendous experience before of awakening and then falling into ego trap, I didn't want it to this thing. And then I asked you, what is my practice at then? What do I do now? Because now this whole year was tremendous. Like the energy is still there from last year. The physical body has changed, like the sexual urges, everything has gone. And when I ask you about sadhana, what do I do? Do I do practice more? And I said that I have an experience of this, that awakening is just nothing, like it's nothing. And what do I do now to stabilize it? And now when I'm doing diets, I don't know why I'm here this time, but when I'm doing diet now, almost nothing comes up. When I look, it's nothing, just nothing, just nothing. And then I try to share my experience of the whole year, what happened to me. And I don't know what my question is, but I know your movie is coming, Sadhana, next year. Maybe I will find my answer. But one of the thing I'm struggling is that being a Vipassana student, I had a sadhana. Now, from last 1 year, I don't have, because I'm just letting everything happen. And it's just like a river without two sides to it to move in between. And it's just flown everywhere. And it just sometimes feel lost. Sometimes it feel don't know where going. And it's in between so many things happen, job loss, relationship, and tremendous towards the end of the year, tremendous resistance built in. So don't know what's happening, but I'm still here and trying to explore. I don't know what to ask. Maybe you can share a few words.
Yeah, my feeling is to work with you in the dyad. So I'll at some point jump into a dyad with you and your partner, and I think it would be something to explore directly. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And we'll do one more. We'll go to Kai. Yeah.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
So, the more I was doing the practice, the more I was asking myself, is this question really tell me who you are or tell me what you're not?
Yeah.
And it seems to me that we're being tricked a little bit, perhaps, and we come to exhaustion.
Yeah,
And
I think you're getting it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because when at the end, no matter how I was experiencing, anyway, I don't want to take too much time, but my mind was empty and I could feel, presence, but that's not it either, because I can talk about it and I can describe it. And I think it's very difficult to describe these kind of, who we really are. We cannot, and it cannot be talked about. Teachers try to do this, but it's almost impossible. But I guess that my point is that whatever I came up saying, no matter how much I tried, I was telling about who I'm not, rather than telling about who I am. Yeah.
Yeah, and all of the great self-inquiry teachers, they always say, when you inquire into the self, at first what you see is the false I, always, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't need to do self-inquiry. You just have to do it once and it'd be done, So this clearing process is. Obviously what's coming up, all the phenomena that comes out of the unconscious, that's not who you are. But it needs to be seen, it needs to be cleared. And then there is an unfolding then in this process, so that the awareness that is ever present, then, when that whirlpool of the mind finally stops, that's when that awakening can happen. So the mind will never do it. The mind, it is it seems like we're setting it up for the mind to do something, but we're not. It's really about that mind, that whirlpool of the mind coming to stillness, and it can do that in many ways. It can exhaust itself. It can actually realize its own limitation in this process and actually just give up. It's like the mind can just move from the driver's seat into the back seat when it really understands its own limitation. And that flip or that awakening, we can't make that happen, but we create these perfect conditions where the mind has surrendered, and then whatever is going to unfold from there unfolds.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so Tayama, are you there? Yes.
I am ready. I just need to clarify 40
Yes.
minutes.
Yes, let's do 40 minutes.
Okay. And I need you to go to room 60 first, just so you know.
Room 60.
Here we go.
Okay, thanks.
60. Okay.
Do you still need me in room 26?